And those were some powerful thoughts shared by Benjamin Akakpo. It's now time for us to delve into our big stories. We're starting off with a very concerning one about the indebtedness by the buffer stock company to food suppliers here in Ghana. And those were quite painful scenes to watch, as many of them women, stayed overnight at the premises of the buffer stock company just to get what is due them. This morning, we've been joined by Kweku Amedume. He's spokesperson for the National Association of Food Suppliers, and Peter Kwesi Notru-Kotoy. He's ranking member of Parliament's Education Committee. You're welcome, gentlemen. It's a pleasure to have you here. Mr. Amedume, since you started staying over, pitching camp at the buffer stock company, has there been any clear indication to you yet of when your monies will be paid?
Yes, I'd like to say good morning to your listeners and good morning to your good self. I don't know whether to say yes or to say no, because yes, of course, there has been some attempts yesterday to speak to us, to go back to our various homes. But as to whether we have seen that as a genuine effort is another matter, because all these attempts have been made in the previous years, 2 years now, but we've not seen any results emanating from all those attempts. It has been empty promises given to us, so we don't really have faith in this promise. Yesterday, the Deputy Chief Executive of Buffer Stock paid us a visit, and his issue was that he wanted us to leave the premises, and he was going to give us 15 rooms, and our members should our members should go and occupy those rooms, and 2 members should occupy 1 room, and that there's a scheduled meeting between us and the management of Buffer Stock on Monday. It is in that meeting that they're going to tell us when and how our money is going to be paid. But we made it clear to the deputy CEO that, in fact, we are not here. We are not interested in where to sleep and where not to sleep. If it has to do with comfort, we have comfort for ourselves. We are working. We work. Like we have our own place of abode, and we want to go and sleep in our home. And so it is not the issue of where to sleep. The issue is our money. So anybody who wants to talk to us should be talking to us about how our money is going to get paid. When is our money coming? That is what we are interested in. So we made it abundantly clear. And so he left. Soon after, we had the Minister of Agriculture visiting us. He also came with the same issue that we should go back to our homes, that he was going to ensure that we get our money. But we had serious reservations of the way the Minister of Agri conducted himself yesterday, because when he came, apparently, I was also on a program at Metro TV. So he didn't come to meet me. He met the woman at the place. And one of the things the journalist told me was that the media man told me when he came to the place, he asked that all the lights on the compound should be taken off. He got there around 8 o'clock in the evening. So he came and said that he didn't want lighting in the area. He doesn't want to be seen talking to us. So he instructed that all lights should be taken out, and he wants to speak to us in the darkness.
And he told you this personally, or was the journalist who told you that?
Personally, my members confirmed, and the media men who were present, there was a banter between him and the media men yesterday. But apparently, I know he's a big man, so his instructions prevailed. So that alone marks of mistrust, because if indeed you want to be taken on by your word, you should allow the members that you are coming to visit to see your face. to take you pictures, to take you videos. The journalists are there. They should bear witness to what you're telling them. And that another thing we have issues with is, why would we have a Minister of Education whose responsibility it is to make sure he pays us? We have the Chief of Buffer Stock, we have the Ministry of Finance. What we do or where our money comes from has nothing to do with the Minister of Agri. So for Minister of Agri to be intervening, we smell we don't feel right about it. And so he promised that he was going to get back, he was going to meet with the finance minister and get back to us today at 4 o'clock.
Mr. Medume, I'll come to you shortly because you also have concerns about some people you refer to as new suppliers that the buffer stock company has engaged in Spain. But let me come to Mr. Peter Nochukotoi, who is in Parliament. And Mr. Kotoi, thank you so much for your time this morning. I appreciate your company. You have oversight responsibility in Parliament. You go through the books. You've engaged the Ministry of Education. Even in some instances, we've had, reason to hear from the Finance Minister about, feeding for school children in senior high schools because, one, the quality of food was very poor and there was shortage. I remember that, made headlines. Are you aware of this situation? Since 2021 to 2003, these suppliers have been owed. If you are aware, what kind of intervention has your committee in Parliament made to help address this matter?
Thank you very much, Benny. Good morning to you and to your listeners and viewers. When I heard of the picketing of the food suppliers at NAFCO, that is the buffer stock headquarters, I went there on Wednesday morning to see it for myself. And lo and behold, they were there. I asked of their leader, I was told he was in one of the press houses. So I spoke to a few women there. And their concerns are that, one, they owe them for 2 years now food that they supplied to senior high schools. And they went for credit facilities from banks and other facilities that they can get money or resources. And they are to pay interest on them. And buffer stock is failing or is refusing to pay them. This non-payment to food suppliers by buffer stock is becoming perennial. I've been speaking about this for a very long time now. At times when we say it, they say it is not true. And now, this is the situation in which we find ourselves. So as a committee, we don't have oversight responsibility for buffer stock. It is the Committee on Agriculture. But because they provide food for students in secondary schools, which are under the Ministry of Education, we have shown interest. Because if you go to the secondary schools now, some of them are experiencing shortages of food items. Again, the women also complain to me that they have been sidelined and new persons have been engaged to supply food items to the various institutions. If you have done that, then pay them off. Because you can't owe somebody, then you go and engage another person and pay that person regularly. I've been saying over the years that buffer stock has become a hub of corruption, where the things that go on, in fact, my sister, is very bad. And there should be a point at which we should investigate the activities of buffer stock. Because my information also is that the Ministry of Education has paid about 90% of what they owe them. I tried getting the minister to confirm this to me, but I wasn't able to meet him. Yesterday was in the chamber but we were in court, so I couldn't have access to him. So the situation is very bad. You cannot owe people and keep their money. Then you go and engage new persons, and then you don't want to pay them. They are human beings. They have families. They must also live life. So I don't see why the buffer stock is not telling us the truth. That's why I'm asking for a public inquiry into the activities of a buffer stock.
Okay, but back to my question. Since 2001 to this point, even though you don't directly have oversight responsibility of the buffer stock's operations, like you just mentioned, you're with the Education Committee, and this directly affects students in high school. And we've seen the effect of some of these debt issues on supply of food to the schools. So I'm asking if you were aware of this indebtedness to the food suppliers and what the Education Committee did as an intervention, if it did any.
We had not been informed. And as I said, there's no petition or any information from the food suppliers until I heard it on radio on Tuesday. Yes. So before the committee, there is no complaint, there's no petition. We only talk when the matter comes up that, oh, they are owing them. And then we try to intervene and make sure that they are paid. So that is what we are doing. It is only when we have a formal complaint that we can act, because it is the children or the students that are affected directly.
Let me go back to Mr. Medume. Mr. Medume, thank you for holding on. What exactly is prompting this allegation that the buffer stock has engaged a new crop of suppliers or a new group of suppliers?
Yes, thank you very much. This new suppliers that we are talking about.
Mr. Medume, if you can kindly speak up for me, I'd be grateful.
Yes. So these new suppliers that we're talking about, I think the Minister of Education is the best person to answer this question, because this new crop of suppliers, he's the one dealing with this new crop of suppliers. And I want to also make reference to what the Honorable said about my minister claiming that he has given 90% of our money to the buffer stock. Indeed, buffer stock has admitted having received that money, but buffer stock has also made a counterclaim that they are left with 175 million Ghana for at Minister of Education. The Minister of Education is supposed to release that money to him so that he can be able to pay us. So this is a matter that he has also confided in us. So maybe when the media or the Honorable Minister, the Honorable MP gets in touch with the Minister, he should be able to also ask this question. But my sister, the bottom line is this is an elderly woman, and this is a woman who have helped. In the entire 2022, they did supplies to the buffer stock, and not even a dime was paid to them. For the entire 2021, they were only paid 30% of what they supplied. In fact, in 2023, they were given, they were asked to also go and do emergency supply, of which they complied. Up to now, the minister has paid the 2021 suppliers who he himself has gone to contract. He has paid them up to date. Those people who are not part of our members, that the minister himself went to contract, that the minister has sidelined us to go and contract. Those people have been paid. So my question is, why would the minister leave us out from the picture and be paying people who have just done supply? And as I'm telling you...
And what's your suspicion? Why do you think that happened?
My sister, it can only be influenced by... It can only be the personal interest, or there's an in hand, or I have a suspicion that the minister is not in good terms with the CEO of buffer stock. Because on the day when he was telling us that he had released 90%, he pulled the phone and was calling the minister, buffer stock CEO. Several times, the buffer stock CEO has never responded to his call.
So you had a meeting with the Minister of Education?
Yes, when he told us that he had released our money to buffer stock. But buffer stock, according to our checks from the CEO, he said that, yes, he has gotten that money, but there were loans on his books that he also had to pay. But he has about 275,000 million Ghana, 275 million Ghana with buffer stock that with the Minister of Education that he is supposed to release to him. That money has not been released to him. That is why he is not able to give us our money. And so the issue is a bit confusing, a bit conflicting. And that is why we are appealing to those who matter to get into the issue. If, as the MP is saying, that bipartisan committee should be set up, yeah, it is a good step to be taken. But we cannot, as suppliers, wait till that committee is put together and their work to be done and then the recommendations to be made. By that time, we would have lost more of our members because, as I speak with you, about 3 of our members are dead. Here that we are picketing, 4 of them are indisposed. We've gotten them to hospital and we have taken them out. If you look at the ages of these women, their condition is not favorable. The weather condition is not conducive for their staying here. And that's why we want to appeal to anybody who matter in government, who is within the hearing range of my voice this morning, that this should be seen as a national security threat.
Right.
Because their life is threatened. Their very existence is threatened.
And I'd like to say here that the people who have died is not as a result of this exercise you're carrying out, right? We just want to make that clear. They didn't die because they were sleeping over the buffer stock. All right.
And our suspicion is that they die as a result of the frustration the creditors. You know, our suppliers, they also depend on bank loans. They go to people to source for those foodstuffs on credit. And for 2 years, there's nobody in this country today who would allow his money to be with you for 2 years without getting the money back. And it is not as if after 2 years the government is taking the money. It's not as if when the money is being given, is going to be given to us, they are going to pay interest. And my sister, at the time we supplied maize was at 150 Ghana. Today maize is 800. Beans was 1,000. Beans was 500. Today beans is 1,300. A carton of milk was 70. Today a carton of milk is 192. So if those monies are given to us today, we cannot be able to do the supplies with it because our working capital is reduced.
Have devalued, right?
Has devalued.
Okay, Mr. Amedume, sorry to interject. I'd just like to say here at this point that we've been trying hard to get the buffer stock company to share their side of the story as well, and the Ministry of Education as well. When we're able to reach them, we will tell you that side. But as we speak now, we haven't had any confirmed person to respond on the behalf of these entities. But Mr. Amedume, just share with us, prior to this situation, what the payment regime was like. Because we know, as it is with government, and let me cite the school feeding caterers, for example, it was a pre-financed arrangment. So these women cook for the school children and then government pays them after a while. What was the situation prior to this incident with regards to how you supplied the buffer stock and how you were paid?
The provision of our contract with buffer stock provides that when we supply the goods and deliver to the various schools and submit our various invoices to the buffer stock is supposed to pay us our money within 60 days. Let me repeat, buffer stock is supposed to pay us our money within 60 days upon submission of our invoices to them. And let me admit here that in 2017, when we started, we never had issues with payment. In 2018, we never had issues. In 2019, we never had issues. In 2020, we never had issues. But in 2021, that was when the issues started. That was when we were given a minute amount out of the total amount of supply. For the entire 2022, we were not paid at time. In 2023, we were not paid, except that the minister has decided to work with different sets of people. And unfortunately for him, those people he has contracted to work with, they don't have the food staff to supply. They rather come to us to call for the food staff to go and supply, or they want us to guide them as to where we normally source for our food staff. And that is where we got the hint. We got to know that there's currently supply going on. And in some instances, people are giving advance money. They are pre-financed, which had never happened in our time. This is the association that at the time the government was in distress, the government didn't have money to push the food staff to the various schools. They fell on us. We did that on credit without a time, without complaining. Why are they treating us this way, my sister? Why would you subject this aged woman in this condition because they have decided to help or assist government to roll out its most prided policy of free SHS.
At the time you started realizing the delays in payment, what reason were you given?
The reasons were that government is working on money to give us, that at a point the buffer stock CEO had traveled to Mecca, we should wait. At the point the Minister of Finance is not in town. It has been one excuse to another, And let me make a quick reference to their press statement they released yesterday. For which reason we think that government has not made up its mind to pay us our money. Take the first paragraph. The first paragraph is an admission. They have admitted that they are indebted to us and they are apologizing for inconveniences caused to us. The second paragraph, they said that they are convening emergency meeting to solve the matter. As an ordinary meeting, emergency meeting to see to how they can resolve the matter. And we have a problem because it means that all along, all the promises they have been giving us, all the things they have been telling us, that they are working on our money, it is not true. And if you watch that particular paragraph, since it is an emergency meeting they have decided, it means the date for the meeting is decided. But they didn't tell us when they are going for the meeting. The date is open. They have not told us which date. The last paragraph, they said they are now going to have meeting with the Minister of Education and the Minister of Finance is the way forward. So it also goes to re-echo the point that these people never had any plans to pay us. There was no preparation, there was no arrangement, there was no intention whatsoever to give us our money. Because it is now, let me borrow that word, it is now they are going to draw a roadmap. If you are now going to draw a roadmap, it means you are not ready. You didn't even have plans. There was no agenda. There was no agenda, there was no attempt or intention to pay us. So that is why we think that the government promise to pay us is just a mere promise.
I'll come back to you shortly for the way forward for you, because you have had a promise but you don't believe in it. But let me just wrap up on the side of Mr. Kotoy. Thank you for holding on, sir. So now you are aware of the situation. Has the committee met over this, the Education Committee in Parliament, seeing the possibility of it affecting students in high school, even though we hear that the Buffer Stock Company has engaged a new crop of suppliers? What is the way forward from your side in terms of intervening in this matter?
Yeah, thank you very much again. As a committee, we have not met. And as I said earlier, we want to confirm from the minister these two issues, that he had paid 90% of what the ministry owed Buffer Stock, and two, he had engaged a new crop of suppliers, and the reasons for that. So we are about to do that. We will probably see him today, the leadership of the committee, if he comes to the chamber. Because we were there on Wednesday, we couldn't meet him. So we hope that today we'll all be in the chamber, and then we will meet him. We want confirmation before any further step that you can take. But let me add that those in government are not trying to help the food suppliers. I have not heard anybody from government side, even in Parliament, making any comment that, oh, these are our people, they are Ghanaians, why do we keep their money for over 2 years? Let us pay them and all these things. Nobody from government side has made any statement to even console them that, oh, we shall look into it, or we are making sure that government pays you. They have not done that. So it shows the insensitivity of government towards its creditors. You realize that even in the Ministry of Education itself, suppliers who supplied school uniform for over 2 years now, they have not been paid. So this academic year, those in the first year now, the suppliers refused to supply uniform. So the parents had to buy their own uniform. Those who published textbooks for the basic schools last year, the committee had to come in talking every day before they were paid part of their money. So the situation is just die, and I don't know if it's negligence on the part of government or we don't care whether you get your money or not. And these are people who have spent their money or used their resources to provide services. So I don't know why government will not prioritize the needs of people and then pay them their money so that they can also live a good life. So we will continue to work on it. I hope today, by the close of the day, we should be able to hear from the minister. And if you call, I can give you the details.
Fantastic. We'll keep that in our plans. We'll reach out to you once you engage the minister. So let me just end with you, Mr. Amedume. What's the way forward now? Are you still going to sleep at the buffer stock company's premises? What exactly is the next line of action? Hello, Mr. Amedume.
Hello.
Hi.
The next line of action is to be here till our monies are paid. We are not perturbed. We are not moved, even though the weather condition is not favorable. We are more comfortable here in the premises of buffer stock than going home, because at home our creditors are on us. They are giving us so much emotional trauma and emotional torture, and so we will prefer to be at buffer stock until our monies are paid. If not, I don't know what next, but this is what we intend to do now. We want to begin.
Thank you for your time this morning. Kweku Amedume, spokesperson of the National Association of Food Suppliers. And as you may be aware, they've been sleeping at the premises of the buffer stock company for some days now. This is just to get the monies owed them for about 2 years. They say initially when this occurred, they were given promises. It's what has led to the current mistrust existing between the suppliers and the buffer stock company. They say they've had promise upon promise. They are owed some huge amounts of monies. I'm just trying to get the exact amount for you. But basically what it is that they've been promised of a certain roadmap. We are yet to see that roadmap. And like I mentioned earlier, we are yet to get a response from the buffer stock company in terms of these claims of engaging new people and refusing to pay them their monies. They're owed up some 270 million cedis. So we'll keep this on the table and furnish you with details as and when we get them. But to our next conversation, we are talking about the Joy Change Speaker Series, and it's the 5th edition. And this time is on the theme, Media and National Development, Premise, Promise, and Practice. I'll be back to tell you more. Do stay.